Oh. Garrett did that for me, so it was great. How's it going, guys? I couldn't, so was Greg coming here? They were no longer, he said that they were lost. Yeah. We can back to that. I told him, so then I was like, yeah, put it in the email. Well, how do you get lost? Put the right address. What? Yeah, I did. You haven't watched it. Well, no, it's just I watched it. Oh, it's like but it's up like still has yeah, we're gonna go for it. And you said you're gonna come tennis player. I started getting the cool where he was. Which is the other side down. What do you think? Started a little tiny cafe. The developer development about 2 blocks away. Yes. Outside the beer. Yes. Gary? And my wife so we got our all right. What's your name? Yeah, I'll see back there waiting. We did. Yeah. Not exactly like well, I would, when I went into the birthday, yeah, I had to have an activity, so I'm doing the instructor parts. Considerably further than saying ferocious idea. And I thought, yeah, I'm just having something here. The buildings were still, but they came, they had to bring in folding chairs, there were 2 people per chair. It was just amazing. But that was quite an experience. Oh. Yeah. But that was in a picture line. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, we need some water. I don't know what's happened. We normally have this thing right on time. Eat first. Oh, it went off the end of the room. Yeah. And how do you say your last name? It's really new. This is new, but to new, that's it. New Matalo. New Matalo. New Matalo. Okay. Yeah, very good. Yeah, we want these guys. I don't know what she's. It's got a problem. Oh, boy. So if you go back. No, I never did. But some people like that. Okay, I guess we're gonna start eating. So we're gonna eat. Start eating. Getting food. Didn't see the road. I know. Yeah, yeah, this guy. Okay, we get there. We're going to the terraces. Okay. You're here. Did you want coffee? No. Sick, where'd you say you come, are you from originally? Originally, I am Minnesota. All right. I used to be a gopher. Gopher. Okay. Old gophers. Yep. I almost took a job there in, Hey, how you doing? Where do I sit? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing well. You know, I just gotta, you give me the right place to go and I'll get there on time. I'll tell you that. If you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Dick C. Guerrero, nice to meet you. You are from? I'm from, well, I went to San Jose State. I'm an alumni from San Jose State, but I'm with the Blue and Gold Collective. So I'm the supporting our coaches and our teams, helping us with our recruiting and retaining of our top athletes. So, but I love San Jose State sports. My wife and I both went to San Jose State. And got some other Spartans here. Got some other Spartans. Yeah, but did you go to San Jose State College? Yes, I did. Oh, you did them both, huh? San Jose State College. Is there a different college other than San Jose State College? San Jose State University. Yeah, San Jose State University. Okay. And then there's San Jose State College? There was until it became a university. Oh, okay. So I was just wondering how long ago you were there. No, probably not that long ago. It was always university. All right. Football is really, you know what I recently learned? You're supposed to have the coach here. Or is it my mistake? I lived in Santa Clara. I didn't know that. 30 years. Okay. Well, I mean, I'll find it either way. The football team's been doing pretty well. It's kind of back-to-back bowl games, right? You know, so. So we hope a quarterback this year? We shall see. Start spring ball and really. Me too. Next week. You got 3 jobs. I do. Keeps me busy. All right, 15 years. Good morning, Grant. Morning. Well. Pretty good. Pretty good. Good. Did you get lunch?
I missed the front of the line, so I'll have to back the line.
It was really good. Very tasty. It's okay. You can eat all these.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It is good.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to fly out to go to the Vegas Mountain West tournament. And they're having a big NIL meeting with all the Mountain West collective on Thursday morning, so I'm kind of excited.
It's good as we all of us get educated on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So we aired, I don't know if you heard, you saw that we aired our interview. I got a call, we got a supporter right away.
Oh.
Yeah, we heard that night. I didn't know that he's like, oh yeah, I got approval from the top. They're the story. And so that night on Friday night, I get a call Saturday morning saying, hey, I want you to come pick up a check tomorrow. I said, absolutely. I'm going after it. Oh, before I forget, I have a wonderful idea that I came with today. I was so excited. So, our university doesn't have a calendar, all right? So we can get sponsors to do the calendar. We can get NIL dollars to support the calendar, and we could sell the calendar itself for NIL. And it sells tickets because now people know when the games are. And everybody uses the calendar. It's like we don't have a calendar. Can you believe that? And we can support our
players,
football, basketball.
in their briefs.
If that's what you need, if that's what sells, I know usually the swim team's in a swimsuit. I'll just let you know. Can you believe that? So I was talking to everybody, I go, look, I'll put it together. Lisa goes, where did you come up with this? I go, I don't know, I was thinking about it.
Coach, you guys sign a kid like Bauman?
I was looking at, is that the one you said we have to do this? Oh, well, okay.
Chris, you have, I talked with Dad the other day, I made it sound like you guys signed.
I checked with our player personnel and.
Well,
Each time seems to send me text, so I was looking it up, and I said, can you find it, like, I can't find it, that is. It's still in high school, right?
I think he's graduating, he's 6'2", like 255.
She's graduating this year.
Yeah, he's graduating this year. His dad said Oregon State looked at him.
But he signed a letter of intent with us.
That's what his dad said.
That's not his dad though. It's not his dad, it's his surrogate father. He's always supported him.
I didn't,
So, because he reached out to Ross and he wanted to tour the facility and everything. So I said, Ross, you don't know, you gotta do some due diligence, you can't just say. Yeah.
it was amazing because he had this whole story about
Yeah, you sure.
if he goes, his friend's gonna go, and then I was like, oh my God. I don't know, I felt like it was.
Maybe he's going to San Jose State College, not university.
My grandson.
This seemed like a detailed story, like, I was like.
Details, like villages versus terrace, you know?
I wasn't this one, the village is nice. I'm not thinking a tour of the village.
So you know where that is? That's all the way by Silver Creek. I was showing you those properties in Silver Creek, all the way out there.
I thought a little further, you'll get to the villages.
We went to the village, yeah, and further out, farther out. Hey, but you know what? They let us in. We're like, hey, we're doing a presentation and I don't know the clubhouse.
What was that?
That gate is pretty easy to get through. You tell me you're gonna play golf.
Yeah. Well, my wife is a real estate lawyer, so her office is right there in Silver Creek, so. They got, we have an aging community, but my mom's surgery went well. So she's, yeah, very happy about that. But she's thinking about, she's like, oh, I'm probably have to start looking at a place to hang my hat, I'm trying to make sure to move in with us.
Did you play football at San Jose?
No, I was a bowler. I went on a bowling club. Why are you laughing? You know, it's funny.
Because you look like a football player.
Bond bowling?
Yeah. Hey, I was a city champ, county champ, took second in state and won that.
It's impressive. You get a full ride color?
No, they just sent me $7,500 and they basically, because I was 17, they couldn't give me the money. They had to send it to the university. And then the university basically held my money and that was how I paid for my tuition and stuff. I was happy.
Well, that was the bowling federation that did that.
Yeah, there was.
Greg, do you know how many people live in here?
I think there's around 175 apartments. Well, that's counting the assisted, that counts the assisted. Yeah, there could be close to 300 in independent. Yeah, and then we have another assisted living. And then we have the medical facility. I think another 45 beds there. And then I'm not sure how many beds there will grow. But maybe Andrew would know. Andrew? You know what the population on campus is?
Not entirely. I know this from the stats I see. Thermal. Send somewhere around that. Not including employees.
Yeah.
There's another 250.
That's pretty good size facility. And you know, the price is rough.
You haven't told,
The tour was off.
you know, I don't think you're gonna live that down.
No.
Okay. Let's spend the next 2 days looking at the Vegas.
Yeah.
So you're gonna stay here for 3 days.
Hopefully longer, actually.
No, no. Well, we're gonna do.
Hopefully it'll be a long trip to Vegas.
Did everyone here get some meatloaf?
Steve, will you have this teaching how to play the clock? Press this.
You know, it's funny, my wife. It's like.
Yeah.
Oh. He doesn't like at all.
Oh, so how long?
She's hooked.
And real estate. He had a house that was sold there. That's why he bought the old house. And the guy. She had a Swiss office. And he first. And he got her fixed. They bought like $1,000.
I'm actually, in percentage terms, the biggest winner in the history of Nevada.
Huh.
Because back in the days when there really were one-armed bandits,
Yeah.
I pulled one outpayment quarter and I haven't put anything in. So my return was infinite. So it kept me from ever
It's very smart.
playing again because it can only go down.
It's very smart, very smart.
So my wife is that way, she does not have absolutely no interest in gambling. When we were in, I guess, Reno, I talked her into going to the crap table with me and as a virgin, throwing the dice for the first time. We walked away with $225. She woke her back.
Someone once said that it's amazing that keeping gambling houses is always profitable and gambling is always unprofitable. Yet a passion for gambling is widespread and a passion for keeping gambling houses is unknown.
Yeah, they build those places somehow out there. That's for sure.
And they're building our facilities, they're building our facilities.
Parade.
This has been 5 years.
Yes.
After the transition, after that, well, I was with the. San State restaurants. We're talking about. You know, I was drinking states already. We got some water. It's still on water. You know, I can't.
In Tahoe.
It was like, couldn't get in.
I heard they got Tahoe.
Yeah, they just got done. So we had a small. And we have a.
Are you close to like where the golf course is and all that, or is that close to the golf course?
No, it's close to the.
Ski, oh. Have you played that course out there? Out there, was it Century or they play out there that with all the actors and.
Yeah.
Or is it just being- Does any of you want more food or does it didn't take dessert? Get it now because I'm going to start the program in a minute or two.
Go down the house, my son. You have one there?
Close. Close. That's exciting.
Nice. On it.
Well, now he knows the truth.
They always said, you know, they get.
All right, let's get it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our lunch. I'm David Bamberger, Chair of the Luncheon Committee. We're delighted to have so many people here and so many guests here at an very exciting time in sports in this area. I think I should tell you about why I'm fit for introducing our guest today. I was once scored 2/3 of my school's points in basketball. Pretty good, right? Yeah. Well, I really should stop right there, but I'll tell you the rest of the story. I was a terrible athlete, and how I ever got on my 8th grade basketball team, I have no idea. But somehow we were, and they didn't let me play in a game because, anyway, finally we were playing a team where we were beaten so badly, but they figured putting me in couldn't lose anything. And so I actually scored 2 baskets. And the final score was 46-6. And 4 of those 6 points were mine. I want to. This is the first time a Bamberger has ever been applauded for something athletic. Our next club meeting will be at an unusual time. It'll be April 1st, which is a Monday. We're usually the second Tuesday, but we're going to be the first Monday because to accommodate our speaker. This is not an April Fool's joke. And he will be telling us the story of the American satellite program, which he was involved in and which has now he's now allowed to talk about it. It's recently been declassified. So you make a note for yourself. Now, I told you last month to make a note for yourself to be here today, which is true, to hear Peter Morris, which, as you know, is not true. He was kind enough to step aside when our guest we found out that he could come, and he said, and I quote, "Of course, a football coach beats an executive director anytime." So we thank Grant Beach for making contacts to our guests here. That's the San Jose Sports Department. And I'll ask him if he will introduce our guests from here.
Thank you, Dave. Before I start with that, one other announcement I was asked to make. Friday of next week, that's the 22nd, there's going to be a social in this room from the Health Activities Department. Evan from the Exercise Center will be here asking, what would you gentlemen like to have in a program for exercises for you? We know we need to be active. We need to do physical things in order to stay active. So he's going to hold this social so that you can give your ideas on what you would like to have done in order to stay active. And that's in addition to the new pool table that we have. You all know about the new pool table? Okay. Now, you know, sometimes you've probably heard, it's not what you know, but who you know. And because I support the Dick Vermeil Foundation, which is a foundation that supports the athletic department at San Jose State, I have met those people who help recruit and fund all of that activity. Do any of you remember Dick Vermeil? If you went to school in this area, I think he played quarterback 57 through 59 at San Jose State and moved up into coaching, actually coached the next year at Del Mar High School right here in San Jose, and then moved up to UCLA where he won the Rose Bowl, coached for Philadelphia, the Rams, the Chiefs, actually winning the Super Bowl 34 for the Rams. So he's still around, and he's still collecting money for the sports department. Today, if any of you are interested in supporting the athletic department at San Jose State, Greg Welch is here, Greg Marsh, I'm sorry. And he has some envelopes that you can mail in if you're interested in supporting him for that. Now, I would like to introduce to you the new head coach for San Jose State, just arriving this year, Ken, and I'm not even going to try. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you, Grant. Don't worry about saying my last name. I've been called a lot of things in my last name, and I'm okay with it. But it's a great honor for me to be here. I think I've had a chance to shake every one of your hand and get a chance to meet you. So great to. It's a great honor for me to be here. I came with my chief of staff, Garrett Wolf is here. Also, heard from Greg, but also Steve Guerrero is here from our NIL. We got two people from our development here. But it's a great honor for me to be here, first and foremost, to come and speak to you. I'm going to share a couple slides, just kind of talk about it. I've been coaching for 35 years. I was a head football coach at the United States Naval Academy for 15. I coached at my university. I'm from Hawaii, originally from Laie on the North Shore of Oahu. Then I played and coached at the University of Hawaii for 5 years, went to the Naval Academy, was at UNLV for a couple of years, but spent predominantly almost half of my life. I'm going to be 59 this year, pretty much almost half of my life at the United States Naval Academy on the East Coast. But it's been a great honor for me to come here and honored to be the head football coach here at San Jose State. Met a ton of Spartans, and I love this area. In fact, Steve's also, he and his wife are realtors who just bought a place in Willow Glen, and we're excited to be here. But I just want to start off by just kind of sharing this. So this was the view at my house, at the windows at my office at the United States Naval Academy. And the reason I share this from a standpoint of, I use it from a standpoint of when I used to have recruits come in, had all these window panes in here, and I just shared it from a glimpse of life. When you're younger, maybe you're looking out this window pane as you maybe get into your 20s in college, you see this. Maybe in midlife, you kind of see this part. As you start to get older, maybe you're in that part. And my point to them was, your perspective in life isn't wrong. It's just what your perspective is, what you see. We could be looking at the same thing, looking out the same window, and some of us could see the same thing. Some of us could see different things. Doesn't mean our opinion is wrong. When we won games and saw this view, I said, man, what a beautiful view. Love the Naval Academy. If we lost and, it's like stupid birds, they pooped on our windows or something, it's the same view, but my perspective had changed, and just so I've always kind of used that just kind of a guide to help me in life, just have a perspective. In my coaching career, I'm probably in this pain right here. 35 years is a long time to coach. But I've learned a lot in the other window panes. But I also want to leave that from a perspective of us in life. And, as we're kind of in this portion of our life, I think just reality, just perspective of what matters most. And I wanted a chance to shake every one of your hand, because I just want you to know there's things that matter in life. And to me, people mean more than materialistic things. We had 15 recruits at San Jose State yesterday. And so we were showing them our new facilities in the weight room and showing them all those different things. But I told them, don't get caught up in that. And said, more importantly, come and see the people here at the San Jose State. See the coaches, the trainers, the players, because buildings and brick and mortar, they come and go. But really in life, it's relationships and people. So I want to start off kind of with that, this perspective on life. Also, this is kind of, I always start off, this is I've given this talk to every single coaching staff every year that we've started. It's the same slides that I've given to them just as far as leadership. And this is just my perspective on leadership. I always felt from a leadership standpoint, the most important part about leadership, and start at the L, is love. At the United States Naval Academy, I met many generals, admirals. I was fortunate enough to go to the White House 10 times. I've met 3 different presidents. I've been in the White House, met President Bush, President Obama, President Trump. I actually met both Bushes, so I've met 4 presidents. So I've gotten a chance to meet these great leaders.
But I've always thought the greatest leader that I've ever met was my mother. My mother, I just thought about from a standpoint of my mom, she worked at a bank 2 hours away from where we lived. She had to ride the bus to Honolulu. We lived on the bay by the beach and on the North Shore, and she had to ride the bus, and she worked all day. And there's a story I like to tell, and I'm almost embarrassed to tell the story. But when I went to school in town too, so we both caught the bus there, and on the way back, we caught the same bus. There was one time I was in the back of the bus, sitting down in a comfortable chair, but my mom caught the bus in Honolulu where the bus was completely full. So my mom was in the front of the bus having to stand, hold the things on top where she'd stand up, and I was sitting down. And it was almost embarrassing for me, just, I get pretty emotional. I think about that because here, 16-year-old son is sitting down in the back of the bus on the seat, and my mother has to stand for almost an hour on the bus. But my mother, her greatest leadership quality is she loved us. And I know that my mother loved us. She worked hard for us. And I've always thought from a leadership standpoint, her leadership showed me how to truly lead. And coaching is very easy to lead by fear. But I've always believed that when you love somebody, they'll follow you. And I've always told our coaches that before you get after people, make sure that your players know that you love them. The second part is example. I've always thought about my dad was a cook. I was helping pass out stuff, and some of you might think, what is he doing? I'm kind of used to that. My dad was in the catering business, was a restaurant manager. So I used to doing catering things with my parents and my dad over the weekends. But one thing that I learned in leadership, one day I went to my dad's restaurant, and he was a manager of this restaurant. But I went to his office, and he wasn't there. And I said, have you seen my dad around? And his secretary told me he's in the kitchen cooking. So I went over there and saw my dad. He was cooking with everybody else. My dad could have been in the top, in his office, pointing down to people, hey, give me some grapes or make me a hot fudge sundae or whatever. But my dad was down there cooking with everybody else. And to me, it was a great example of leadership, of my dad just showing me, hey, this is how you lead. Even though he was the supervisor or the manager of the restaurant, he was down there showing an example to his other cooks and people that he worked with. The other part is, in this leadership stuff that I always talk about, is accountability. We just had a kid, a great kid I was talking to this morning. Some of these kids, they don't come on time, and I love them and I'm trying to help them. But guess what? You're going to have to run, or there's going to be a price to pay. There's going to be some accountability. And I was just telling them this, hey, it's not that I don't like you, but I'm going to help you in life. Because when you get on the real world, if you don't pay your water bill, guess what? They're going to turn your water off. If you don't pay your power bill, they're going to turn your power off. So I'm just trying to help you to be accountable. And so that's the other part I think is important in leadership. Sometimes guys don't want to hold people accountable. And to me, that's very, very important part of helping guys be better decision makers. And the last part is being able to help them develop. And at San Jose State, we're trying to get the best players we can. A lot of it's through NIL and the recruiting process. A lot of times, maybe we not get the best player. Maybe the guy who's not going, that goes to Alabama may not come here. That's okay. We got to figure out a way to develop them, to get them stronger, to get them faster, to get them more flexible, to help them learn the schemes of what's going on. So I kind of wanted to just share this because this is just kind of giving an example kind of who I am as a coach. Like I said, I've been coaching a long time. Been fortunate to accomplish some things in my profession. I'm not here to get a statue after me or anything. I'm trying to here to do the right things. And I'll give you an example. So there's so many rules in recruiting, so many rules in coaching. And sometimes around the field, I can tell some guys that come from other places, maybe they did things a certain way, but you're not allowed to do that. And I tell guys, hey guys, we are following the rules here. We're going to do everything that you're supposed to do. I don't care what any other school does. We're going to do things the right way. I was at the Naval Academy 15 years, and probably the biggest thing I felt, the greatest, I don't know if accomplishment is the word, is I could go to sleep at night. I didn't realize, I'd never thought about the NCAA coming to check our paper, check the emails, or I didn't worry about any of that because I knew that our that we're doing things the right way. And so we're going to try to develop people that way. Um, I'll share one last thing on the love part. And so part of what I was doing there, one of the things that I want to show our players, and I've always talked about this because this is important for our program. When we go on the road, when we're at Navy, and then we'll see how we do it at San Jose State, we may not have to do it. But when we used to get on our charter flight and get to wherever we're at, where we have somebody here who went to Notre Dame. And so when we get to, Notre Dame or South Bend, and we get to their small little airport, there weren't baggage people there. There might be one person unloading for everybody. So the coaches, we unloaded the bags. We unloaded the bags for the players and tell the players, you guys just go get on the bus, and that we would take their bags and put it on the bus. And it was an example that I want to show our players that we love them and that we were willing to serve them. And again, one thing that a bus driver told me that I'll always remember, he just told me, like, Coach, I've driven a lot of teams here. I've never seen anybody carry their players' bags to the bus. But it's another form of kind of the leadership style that we're going to do here at San Jose State. I know Coach Brennan was a great coach and done a lot of great things, and I know him, so he's done a lot of good things. But this is my leadership style, and this is the things that we're going to do now here at San Jose State. This is just our practice schedule coming up, and if any of you are able to come, we'll leave there here. Grant, guys come. You guys are more than welcome to come to practice. We'd love for you to come. So we're going to start on March 19th. Will be our first practice. We'll have 2 weeks of practice. Then we'll have spring break, and then we have some other practices after that. Then our spring games on April 27th. So that's going to be our schedule for our spring ball. And I just kind of want to. I showed this video to our team one morning after the workout, and I'll just kind of close with the meaning behind this video. Can you guys see back there? Garrett's working hard. This is for his Christmas bonus. He gets the video and he gets his Christmas bonus. So we've been running every morning. So our guys get up at 7 every morning and run. So we run 4 days a week. So we run Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday we're off. But they start at 7, they run for an hour, then they lift for an hour. Then we have meetings. So we start off with some position meetings. So some of the meetings we're doing. So that's kind of what they've been doing since January. So for the last basically 2.5 months, they've been running and lifting, getting bigger and stronger, and trying to get ready for the season. So that's kind of the process we're at right now. And then we'll start our football practices. The next part, we're going to have our football practices. If not, oh, that's fine. Let's go to that video. So I just kind of show you and I just want to kind of close, I'll open up some questions after this. But this is where I'm from, Laie, Hawaii. This is the beach. This is actually looking out the backyard of my house, my beach house there at Hawaii. And I'll just tell you this. It's also a thing about perspective too. Growing up in Hawaii, this is where I grew up. I didn't know any differently. Now, Annapolis is a beautiful place, but in my job, in my profession, I've been able to travel the world to a lot of beautiful places. But it's helped me recognize and be grateful for things. Now, when I come home, I'm like, wow, this place is actually really beautiful. And I don't take it for granted. And so as I look at it, but more importantly, it's kind of helped me to kind of, this is kind of one night, it was kind of a sunset. And as I thought about stuff, just the day was finishing, I kind of go there to reflect every summer about how our season's going, try to see how we're doing. It it's a great time for me to replenish and kind of think about things. But I've kind of, put this again as a little bit of a perspective, but also for me in my career, as I'm winding down in my profession, maybe 7 more years of coaching, we'll see how it goes. But just to kind of, as things are going that way, just to try to remember, just be appreciative of things and be grateful for things, just everything that's happened. I guess we got something. That's fine. They want to turn the lights on. If you get it, you get it. I just want to kind of open up too, just for some questions. Just any questions that anybody has, we'll open up for.
I was just going to ask, where was that picture taken?
So that picture was taken in Laie, Hawaii, in my backyard. It's called a beach. The beach is called Temple Beach. That's where that's at. Anybody else got any questions?
How does the NIL stuff affect you?
And Steve will say some of that. So what ends up happening with the NIL? So in recruiting, basically right now, so what Grant ended up talking is the Dick Vermeil Fund. So the Dick Vermeil Fund is basically for football. And so what had to happen, so for instance, like we got a beautiful new facilities and it's gorgeous. And it's probably one of the nicer football facilities in our conference, if not the nicest in our conference. Except we have a beautiful kitchen in the back. There's only one problem. There's no food. You know what I mean? So our guys right now have to go eat on campus with all the other students. So that's where our guys go to eat on campus, the cafeteria. And, again, not saying, that football players are better than the normal students, but it's hard to play Division I football when you're eating like everybody else. You mean, you have to eat differently. It's just the way it is. And so when I was at UCLA last year, we spent $6 million on food alone. $6 million on food alone. And so, so what we're trying to do for the Dick Vermeil Fund is trying to do things for our football program just for the food. Because to me, that's number one that I got to get in our football program. We got to be able to feed our guys. I got to meet my nice friend here, Dick, sitting over here. It was nice talking to him. But me and Dick, we're as soon as the food was coming out, we were ready to eat. We're like, oh, what we got? So we were ready to go. But our football players, that's our number one thing. I feel like for our football program right now, we have a beautiful facility. We have a weight room, but we're not eating like a Division I team. Right now, we're eating really like a junior college team. That's how we're eating. And so it's going to be hard for us to get to our goals if we don't eat right. So, that's preeminent, and thank you, for helping us, Grant, with that, just, with the Dick Vermeil. But the NIL is important for us from a recruiting standpoint because right now, what basically happens now in college football, players are basically paid through the collective. It doesn't come straight from the San Jose State. It has to go through this collective, which, what Steve will talk about. But it's such a huge part in recruiting now because just right now in recruiting, if you don't have money in your NIL, it's hard to recruit the top tier kids. Now, some of the guys that we're looking at, not all of them need NIL money, because some of them, to get a scholarship is great for them. Maybe, the other guys we're recruiting, they're just getting scholarship money so we can compete with them. But there are some guys that are getting money from other schools through the collective above their scholarship. Again, I'll give you an example. So the kid that was here, an offensive tackle that actually played here at San Jose State last year, ended up going to Arkansas, and we were recruiting him at UCLA, but we didn't have the funds to pay him. I think he made a couple $100,000 going to Arkansas. And so, yeah, it's a whole different world. I'll give you an example. So a quarterback, I don't want to give the schools away, but there's a Big 12 school that had a really good quarterback. And he was going to be a senior. But a Big 10 school recruited him this year, and the way they got him, and he was a senior, he had one more year left to play. And he checked the NFL rankings to see where he was in NFL ranking, and it showed that he was going to be a free agent. And the free agent makes right now they're making about $500,000 a year, while this Big 10 school offered this young man $2 million. So in 4 years he could have made. I mean, in 1 year he could have made what's going to take him 4 years to make, at that school. And so it's a different world in recruiting. Steve and I, and we've been, out in town. I've been meeting with a lot of people. We're meeting with a lot of people to fundraise for NIL because it's just the way of the world right now. But, so Steve recruits financially for all of our NIL, our collective, that everything has to go into this pot of collective. Like, we can't get this money straight to the players. Anything that the school gets goes into our collective, and that, whoever the people that distribute it in the collective, they determine where that money goes. If they put it in there, okay, we're going to give it to basketball or base or whatever. And, in order for, and to reciprocate for the players, they might have to do some appearances or do some different things to earn it. But the NIL is a new world. It's been here basically 2 years, in the college recruiting scene. And so we're trying to delve into it. Right now we're behind, and even in our conference, just with the amount of money. A lot of other schools in our conference already got a couple $1 million in that. Thus, this guy with the vest got hired because we're trying to increase where we're at with that. I've been, like I said, I've been going out and helping with some of these fundraising, which is a little awkward for me because I want to coach football. But I also recognize if you don't have the NIL dollars, it's hard to recruit. It's just the way it is now. And I'm grateful that the kids are able to get some things. Hopefully there's going to be some parameters that kind of settle things down, because it's kind of like the free agency without any guardrails. It's like the wild, wild west right now. So hopefully they'll kind of maybe make it like the NFL with this salary cap, and, there can be some even playing field on that. But yeah, so the NIL is a big part of that.
Coach, I have a friend of many years who was a scholarship football player, and not mentioned in the school, but he blew out his knee, and it ended his football career. Is there any, and by the way, the school continues, it's decades since this happened. The school continues to provide him medical service for that injury that he suffered. Is there anything like that, either tradition, convention? Do schools honor a scholarship for academic access when a player gets hurt?
Great question, Paul. Yeah, so there is, so we'll honor their scholarship. They get a medical red shirt, they get a medical, we medical them. And so we'll help those out. I just got here, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure that was their policy in the past, but we'll definitely honor them. Now, they won't be able to play anymore. We'll just medical them, give them a medical, basically a red shirt. They're not playing anymore, but we'll continue to help them financially. But they come off your roster a little bit. We'll help them that way financially. You have one? The other way.
Okay. Well, welcome, Coach. Glad to have you here. I was on this committee at San Jose State a couple years ago. But the question is, after all your experience at the Navy and other places, do you anticipate any change in the type of players and recruiting? This is a recruiting question, I guess. Do you anticipate any changes in the type of recruiting that you will do here than say you would have done at the Naval Academy?
Yeah, so the question is, will the recruiting change from Naval Academy? It will definitely change. I mean, I'm grateful for any of you that have served in our military, grateful for your service. I worked there for 25 years, but I never served. But not everybody was willing to serve. And so, in recruiting, that got hard because you had to recruit guys that wanted to serve. So here it's going to be different. You're not asking kids to go serve our country that way. So the recruiting will definitely change. You're always trying to get the biggest, fastest, strongest, smartest football players that you can, the best players that you can. And so that's always the goal, to get the best players that you can get.
I just wonder if you have any special plans on defeating Fresno State this year.
Well, we got to look at that game plan that Coach Brennan had last year. It worked pretty well last year, right? It was really good game plan last year. They have a really good team. Coach Tedford's, a really good football coach. And like I said, that was a great win, for us last year here against them. And, we got after them last year, but they're a good football team. And the one thing in coaching and in sports, you're only as good as your last game. So that was a great win last year. We'll move on to this year. I haven't looked that far into it, Fresno State. We're, like I said, we're trying to fill our cafeteria and make sure we can eat. You know what I mean? And once we get that, we're trying to get that, get ready for spring practice. We've started to break down some of our first 3 opponents, which would be Sac State, and Stanford. After that, when Sac State was our first one. Who's our second one, Garrett? Just Kennesaw State. So we just started, initially started looking at that. But really right now, the emphasis is trying to get the resources that we need, get spring ball going, hit the recruiting trail. So we'll be on the road recruiting, and then we'll think about those. But it's going to be a tough game. As you know, they're always good. It's our rivalry. So I recognize, that was told to me early on that our rivalry game was Fresno. So hopefully we'll be ready for those guys again.
Yeah, can you explain this whole portal situation, and how does that tie into your recruiting?
The portal, so the NIL and the transfer portal are 2 new issues that makes it hard. And Coach, like I said, I've been doing this for 35 years. So basically in a transfer portal, before, if you basically signed your contract, your letter of intent, you had to go to that school. And if you left the school, you'd have to sit out a year. There's some ramifications if you want to leave. Now you just enter the portal and you can leave whenever you want to leave. And there's some different rules if you graduate. If you want to transfer a second time, there's some different things you got to put in for a waiver. There's a lot of different things, but it's a big part of what we're doing now. In fact, on April 15th, the transfer portal opens again. Like, there's this window of time that you can go in. So on April 15th for 30 days, the portal is going to open up again. And hopefully, what will happen then, maybe a couple guys from our team may decide they want to enter the portal. And they say, hey, Coach, I'm not happy with it. We're going to put our name into the portal. And so it's like this, I don't know how to put it. It's like everybody goes online. It's like shopping online, because all these guys that enter the portal goes, oh, Fresno State's got a corner. Hey, wait, Washington's got a cornerback that we're interested in. So that's how it happens. There's a time frame when you can enter the portal, and then basically guys go and recruit there. But it's changed recruiting now because everybody basically goes through the portal to start the recruiting process.
Excuse me, Coach. Who are the new members of the Mountain West this year?
The new members?
Are there new members to the Mountain West?
No, there aren't any.
League broke up?
No, so we're not sure. So the question is, do we have any new members of the Mountain West? And right now it's the same. Oregon State and Washington State were kind of the 2 leftovers from the Pac-12. And right now they haven't truly been added on to the Mountain West. They're kind of their own entity right now. So, we're trying to see the TV contracts. I'm not really sure how that's going to work because you got 2 people by themselves, basically, that are kind of hanging out. But right now, there's been no additions to what's going on.
And this will be the last question.
Last year in the NFL, the 49ers were rated number one, which they remained for most of the season. Yet when the Super Bowl came along, they didn't perform as well. Can you explain that?
Well, that's a loaded question right there, man. I'll just say this. Coach Shanahan's a great football coach, and he's a great mind. And they have a really good team. And it's, they're probably the two best teams ended up in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs and the 49ers. And, the Chiefs won in overtime. The game was that close. You get one stop on fourth down, it's over. So, yeah, there's a lot of things, but I just, they made Patrick Mahomes made one more play than the 49ers did. But it was a really, really good game. I don't really have an NFL team. I like to watch sports, college football. I mean, pro football in general, just to watch different players. But it was a phenomenal football game. The 49ers will be back, though. I mean, with their roster and with who they got coming back, they'll be back. You know what I mean? Just, you're going to say anything, but they'll be back. We'll just close, and, Mr. Gore has a few things to say, but thank you guys very much for allowing me to come. I've enjoyed getting to meet you guys, and, all the best to you guys, and go Spartans.
Thank you, Coach. Hey, I'm a little shorter than Coach. I'm Steve Guerrero, and I'm actually with the Blue and Gold Unlimited Collective. So I'm in sales, okay? I've been in sales my entire life. And I have the best product to sell because that's San Jose State. That's my alumni. My wife and I went there. I got to say, I have the utmost respect for the elderly, for the people that are in this room that have lived a wonderful life, that have this opportunity to share this experience with you. I'm going to be leaving tomorrow to the Mountain West Conference in Las Vegas. And I'll be there for a couple of days helping watch our basketball players compete. And, I'm not specifically for football, but for all of the athletic department and those specific recruits that we're trying to get. But years ago, I went with my grandmother to Reno for a training. I was with AT&T and I was doing some lineman training because we were getting ready for a strike. I was in management and then I had to get ready for a lineman. And I remember this very, very great week with my grandmother. And there was two things that I learned about this woman. Number one, she only had one arm. So growing up, you never really talked about what happened. How did you only have one arm? But I had the courage to ask this woman how she was able to keep all of her 10 grandchildren in line with one arm. So I said, Grandma, can I ask you a question? How did you lose your arm? And she goes, oh, I had bone cancer. I'm like, what? That's it, bone cancer? She goes, what do you mean? I go, well, we never talked about it, but Grandma, growing up, I thought you were the stupidest woman alive. She goes, what did you say? I said, don't get me wrong. Growing up, it was, don't put your hand out the window while we're driving or you'll lose it like Grandma. Okay? Then it was, don't try to stop the elevator with one hand or you'll lose it like Grandma. Or don't put your fingers next to the fan or you'll lose it like Grandma. Growing up, in my mind, this lady kept on getting a little bit of her arm chopped off at a time, never learning her lesson. Needless to say, the lesson that I learned is that it's important to ask questions. And it's important to understand what people are going through. And right now, the questions that I hear in this room around NIL and the issues that San Jose State athletics is going through, I ask those same questions as well, and why I signed up for this role. So I'm very excited to be working with Coach and all of our teams to help our athletics departments recruit and retain our best and brightest so we can keep a competitive edge here in the Mountain West. So if anybody wants to support the NIL, contact Greg through myself, or I'm gonna make myself available. And if anybody does, I've got some tickets in our suites too. We can enjoy a game together. So thank you very much for your time today and your great questions. Any questions for me from Blue and Gold NIL? I heard you guys want to get out of here, so.
Our thanks to the coach and his whole team for a memorable morning and early afternoon. And put in your calendars April 1st for our next session. We'll see you then.
So the blue and gold is.